if somebody's listening to this, like what do they do with it, right? If they show up to work, tomorrow, what can they start to do differently? What are some tangible things? What do you think?
One well-known leadership principle that I think
you love your principles.
I love
today.
my principles. Yeah. So it's not not buzzwords, but principles today. I love a good framework. I'm a strategist. It's the way that I'm wired that I think. So, but I do think this one is really tangible for leaders out there who are looking to make decisions at the right time. It's the 70% rule. So pretty simple. Really. Like it's make your decisions once you have 70% of the information. Don't wait until you have 100%. If you wait until you have 100%, collect all the data, look at it from all the various different perspectives, your competitors will have moved, or at least one of your competitors will have moved. So you will always be too late. Whereas with 70%, you have reduced, mitigated the risk just enough to be comfortable, confident to move ahead.
Interesting. And I'd never heard of this one before. And it's different than the 80-20 rule. Just for the mathematicians out there to not confuse anybody.
Both numbers and percentages. But yes, so the 80-20% rule is the principle around how 20% of your actions are driving 80% of your results. So it's more, you would use it more to allocate your resources towards those 20% high impact projects, initiatives that lead to 80% of the results. So, I mean, if you bring the two together, I would say the 70% rule comes first, kind of in making your decisions, setting a direction, and then choosing within that, how do you allocate your resources? What do you focus on? Focus on the 20% that will give you the biggest impact down the line.
Very cool. I like that 70% rule, and it just makes me chuckle because I'm like, oh man, people must be so nervous working with me because I'll make a decision. I'm very decisive off of 30% of the information, which maybe isn't good. So I need to push myself to what are the few other pieces that I need to know to fully be able to make a decision. But I can also see there's folks out there that need 120% of that information to feel comfortable. So it probably takes both, and we'll meet somewhere in the middle. But I do like that. So if you're faced with a decision to be made tomorrow where you don't know all of the information, you can't predict something, you know it will likely change in a week from now, what is in your control? What do you know based off of 70% of the information out there, and make a decision?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that seems pretty tangible.
What's your best advice?
Oh, well, you know me. I've got 3 things I'd like to share. But I think I can't, having led teams through uncertainty, big change, whether uncertainty created internally or disruption created internally or external factors, and led teams that are very large, like 60, 70 people. The first thing that we can't lose sight of is for leaders to stay really focused on their why. Don't lose sight of that purpose of your organization, of your department, of your team. Stay really focused on that why and over communicate it. So people don't think it's a baby out with the bathwater situation. Over communicate. And I think it's Jim Collins and Good to Great or Great by Choice. That's like communicate to the factor of 10. Say it 10 times. Like you're going to feel like a broken record, but continue to bring that to the forefront. So that's number 1. Number 2 is around this reframing risk. So I think risk is inherent with uncertainty, especially if we look at only knowing 70% of the information. There is a risk not knowing 30%. Focusing just on what's in your control, there is a risk that what's in your control will be overshadowed by the other things outside of your control. But how do you reframe it and knowing it is something that will always exist? It is something to be managed and not solved for. So if you, as a leader, kind of have your playground or your sandbox of all the tools and things you need to pull upon, always know risk is going to be there. So don't ignore it. Don't go, shove it to the corner. Like actually consider it and make an informed decision based off of it. And then within that, some of the best leaders that I've observed, they manage that downside. They acknowledge the downside or the risk is there and they manage it, but they aggressively pursue the upside. And they look at both hand in hand, which I think that is this piece, right? Of it's easy to take shelter and control our costs and let's just steady and let the storm pass, this too shall pass. Or how do you identify those opportunities and aggressively pursue them? 3, last one, and then I'll stop talking. But it's like, how do you know what opportunities to pursue? So I think how, hand in hand with this is creating and celebrating a culture of experimentation. So for me, this is where, I felt like you get in this zone, this rhythm with uncertainty, and you're like ebbing and flowing with it, right? And it's a beautiful thing when it gets there. So how do you test some of these ideas, pressure test them, experiment with them before you make these big, bold choices and put a lot of money and resources behind it, and have those feedback loops and encourage others to do this. Again, it doesn't have to be on the leadership team, but if you have someone on the team, it's like, bring me your best recommendations. How did you test them? What did you find? Celebrate the learnings in that too. So I would say stay focused on the why, over communicate, reframe the risk, and manage the risk and aggressively pursue those upsides. And then 3, create a culture of experimentation.
Yeah. Smaller strategic bets over like large transformational projects, although they might have a time and place too, but like in this kind of managing uncertainty, adapting risk, it's kind of experiment, create that playground almost, right?
Yeah.
Love that.